Back roll.
You'll never see another nigga like this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night shift. Now I'm one westward, sharper than an ice pick. On you rappers' necks and it's feeling like some vice grips. Yeah, that's light shit. Send my bro a kite quick. Ties of war, we ain't forget about you. Keep your light lit. Rappers can't see. Most of them scared to witness. Go and close your eyes. There's one right here for the trenches. Bad bitches, natural hair or extensions. Hood niggas that'll probably grip like some dentures. Runners on them fences. 23 and 1 out. Praying that that commissary hit before it run out. Who are riches on the gram, dog filter with their tongue out. Couldn't stay home because they found the dugout. Closed casket, burner in the low jacket. My co-captain, riding on these whole rappers. My hoes fabulous. Now I don't mean that derogatory, but I'm a player and there's no my women riding for me. I avoided Maury. I got 2 jets. If I can't make it do for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. It's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gun on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on the swerve in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in the swerve in my whole life. My whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, it got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Sani. My wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home with change features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her. They don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on her face, but it's not concealing the pain. It's a shame. That's why I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tint, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s, we see in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that guy flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Tahoe Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making a hot hurt. Lightest in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. You can't. The streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on the swerve in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know life. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in the swerve in my whole life. My whole life.
Okay, I've been in my Bible lately. You understand me? Like, shit crazy out here.
World said fuck us, so we said fuck the world.
You know,
the world said fuck us,
Matthew 24:13.
so we said fuck the world.
He that shall endure to the end.
The world said fuck us,
Shall be
so we
saved.
said fuck the world.
Fuck the world.
The world don't love us, no. So we said fuck the world. Look, I know your kinfolk gone, but hold on. I know them lights ain't on, but hold on. Look, even if you feel you got nothing to hold on, I got a message. God said hold on to your sanity. I know you in a position that you ain't planned to be. With our lives, we're not addicted to gambling. You feel the pressure and the thoughts in your head are scrambling. You feel the storm getting closer. You feel like giving up before you even start, then it's over. You feeling like fuck it, you going through too much to be sober. Life is passing you by as you do this over and over, over and over, over and over, over and over. Time to make a change now. Instead of that, you fall a victim to the same now. Starting to find out that this life is not a game now. Back against the wall, couldn't run as the poor man screamed to the top of his lungs. Said fuck us, so he said fuck the world. The world said fuck us, so he said fuck the world. The world said fuck us, so he said fuck the world. The world don't love us, so we said fuck the world. For real, look. Cover your eyes, don't wanna see the blood on the leaves. Bodies of eyes innocently hanging from trees, floating in screens, blood in the water, blood on the altar. Still don't believe justice is coming. Heavenly Father, did not Christ say vengeance is mine? Don't even bother. When he return, it's gonna be slaughter. Ooh, I know you don't wanna face it, but what's real love sound like hatred. And you gotta be fucking crazy if you think they gonna get away with killing all them babies, feeding them to alligators. All the women that was raped, the transatlantic slave trade made us build a nation that we can't partake in. School to prison, pipeline, mass incarceration. All the lives that's been taken, hated to love it. You only talk about forgiveness cause we never get justice. I think you really reluctant. I remember hearing a hood nigga say all the shit he would've done if he was living during slavery. Look what's going on today, and you ain't doing a damn thing but putting shame on your ancestors' name. But who's to blame? All these drugs, pills, weed, beans, lean, and cocaine. I get the feeling that we living in a big dope game. The world said fuck us, so we said fuck the world. The world said fuck us, so we said fuck the world. The world said fuck us, so we said fuck the world. The world don't love us, so we said fuck the world. Fuck what them bitches gotta say. I'm a woman where's a nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't give a love fuck what them niggas gotta say. I'm a woman where's a nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't care about what they say. Hey. Fuck with my Akima, fuck with my sisters, then I got a problem, I'm never gonna miss you. I got 100 hanging out the AR, I got a 50 hanging out the pistol. He say it's corner, I'm just being realistic. I be on them corner posted with the realest. If it's a Sabbath, then we going fishing. I'm reeling them in, that's a God-given mission. I'm really on 10, but I'm stamped in the pistol. I get the order, be glad at this mission. Hebrew Academy graduate, nigga. Training, put through the baddest conditions. I'm up with none but the baddest of bitches. She righteous, submissive, she glad to be with me. Had that thing Putin like Vladimir, niggas. She know I'm a prophet, she gotta be listening. Disrespect, I ain't having that shit till I go make some business from scratch. She bitching the different breed of black men. We don't do the bad thing. I remember bad. Trying to make it straight, like forget about my face. We standing up straight, can't fold us. Too heavy, the world won't hold us. Go get you some rank, I told you. Line up in these ranks, we soldier. You can take that to the bank, we focus on. How many times must we remind you? One body, one way, some rank, I will never take up as a place. When the law with your ain't no up next, it's just us, nigga, that's that on that. All that weak shit, that ain't no threat. Say you won't beat, bitch, with that ain't no sweat. We with all that. The Lord called a nigga out the world, I responded and called back. Oh Lord, and everything that they stole from us, fuck the shit, we want all that. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on the commanding general, YAHANNA, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated. unaffiliated with them. We unaffiliated with them. I cannot fuck around with fake niggas. We taking ground when we in your city. You better have the women, have the liquor. Keep that bitch on me, please don't but the same. Don't be a fool and be another victim. Say you a goon, you just another Christian. How you my brother, you ain't in here with me. In the gutter, deep down in the trenches. We with them niggas locked up in the prison. Talking Hispanic, Native American, Indian. We ain't just talking shit, but we living in it. We be everywhere, you can't miss it. And we be fresh as hell, take a picture. And we professional with the scriptures. Play, we gon' script them, yeah, we some killers. These niggas tripping, they mind blown. Swear business, forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't get it pause when niggas say that they be looking for niggas to slide on the slide that I know about this when I send with the gun with the slide for real. I get the harder, you know that it's slaughter. See me and my niggas gon' die for kill. The bigger the better for kingdom of heaven. You niggas get wet up by me cause I'm fed up. I rep UPK. My niggas won't let up. Got choppers, got nines, AKs, Berettas. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like bitch or whatever. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on the command and general, YAHANNA, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. See, they always ask us like, why y'all fuck with such and such? Why y'all won't come together with such and such? I be like, we unaffiliated with them.
One West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. One West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy and get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get them dividends or we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nah, but he a domino. So what you sucker trying to do? Rhyming comical. Guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all-stars, I coach them up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid, shit has gotten retarded since all the dominance of one West rising to prominence. Cause I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got group vibes for Uber. Rhymes hard like they've been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. Obligata for the regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by black Impalas, let the semi holler. The showstopper been as proper since the teeny bopper. But now I'm going them off Patron, premium of vodka. I put extensions on the Glock, modify the chopper. The swore heavy, war ready, and that's working mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when they eat on, none of them can get to the fire around with me. And I had a nigga spin like a tire, down the deep. And I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Fuel igniter, I'm winning coming through with the title because I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. Yeah. occult shit. I ain't come with goons, but I'm well connected. Walk in the room is pop, 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 like you got rejected. Let me see if you qualify to knock. Spinning up in a tinted truck, riding around your block. Busy man. I get a word, he ain't shit from top to bottom like a motherfucking ceiling fan. Hopping out the rental van, on my way to LA. Brothers out in Cali and they killers out of every set. But I ain't tripping on no blood. One West, all my niggas got it out the mud. Put your face on a t-shirt, memory of niggas acting tough in them songs, that's the drugs. I don't need no cases, all my pistols clean. So now I weigh my options. Used to use the triple beam. Used to get the wop, mix it with the nicotine. Now I travel state to state and put on for my team.
The fuck wrong with them? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get them. I see niggas and they feelings, I don't feel them. Keep the Glockin' with me, it was like a ball with it. At the end, I gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay dangerous. You one of them? Yeah. What's the problem? I'm one West, go to war with everybody. Cut the grass for the snakes, fuck the gossip. Front line with them soldiers, that's my posture. Gun drawn, trying to cut us an imposter. Shit get out the pocket, go to war with everybody, yeah. Shit that hate, make it to the featherweight. Niggas say they hard, but they sweeter than a dedication. Hold on, think it's time to introduce. I'm a man and a beast and a stepper and a roller. Hold on, and a G and a soldier and a mover. Hold on, and a killer and a prophet and a shooter, nigga. Trying to stay humble, my shit crazy. Cold leader, need the blue stripes, no brick baby. Can't be serious, you a funny boy, young fly. Look wrong, must be a dummy, I ain't gun shy. Fuck that little bitch, she a hook. Nigga swear he the go, bring him to the bush, The fuck wrong with him? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get him. Niggas in their feelings, I don't feel them. Keep the Glocky with me, it was like a ball with it. At the end, gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay patient. You one of them? What's the problem? I'm one West, go to war with everybody.
I'm from Philly, you get hot, you catch a cold case. I'm one West, these brothers trying to set my soul straight. They done turned me to a prophet from a demon, and I'm locked in this shit and I ain't leaving. Never. Ski mask transform to war mode like I'm Voltron. Stamp on my head and my chest from the most high. Put something tight around your neck like a bow tie. Got my niggas waiting charged up like they phone died.
Red letter, drip clean, it looks so fly. Claim he riding, that's why I left his ass roadside. He gon' die. Skyscraper to a nosedive. 9mm plus P, fuck a 4-5. The fuck wrong with him? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get him. I see niggas and they feelings, I don't feel them. Keep the Glocky with me, it was like a ball with it. Be at the end, I gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay dangerous. You one of them? Yeah. What's the problem? I'm one West, go to war with everybody.
Seen heaven turn to hell, I gotta stay alive. Lord have mercy on my soul, stand by my side. I killed the old man and I watched him die. Lost a couple niggas, guess he wasn't my round. They play my niggas, lay you down, they all down to ride. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay alive. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. Tell me we don't live in hell. My brother doing 55 in that cell. Nigga claiming he your round here spit shell. Same nigga you put on to hit the standing tail. How the fuck you turn your back on a nigga that love you? Treat your kids like my kids, treat you like a brother. I told my dog, let's leave the streets to serve the most high. He said, fuck that shit, he trying to sell another pot. His daddy killed him, put him in the trunk, set him on fire. His wife was pregnant, he ain't never get to see his child. Had me thinking to myself, what happened if I die? Look my babies in the eyes, I gotta stay alive. I put my ego on the shelf and my pride to the side. I'm with some niggas who gon' step and got God on their side. Got in the ISUPK, they keep asking me why. As I do the work of the Lord, I gotta stay alive. Face the east, pray alive. I seen heaven turn to hell, I gotta stay alive. Lord have mercy on my soul, stand by my side. I killed the old man and I watched him die. Lost a couple niggas, guess he wasn't my round. They play my niggas, lay you down, they all down to ride. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay alive. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive.
You ever pump a pack with a snake by your side? Yes, I see a man reach out to God before he died. Yes, I did. I know the Lord forgive us for these sins, but I'm starting to think the kingdom of heaven is for these kids. I told my daughter, there's one man in your bed, I won't stand for less. For my son, I hit your head on that fragile legs. I lost some niggas to that dope, I lost niggas to the feds. Remember Jono tried to stick me for that cheese on that bread, yeah, I was thuggin' with Lucky and that nigga left me for dead. Endured to the end cause I listened to what was said. Mother told me she loved me when she was sick up in the bed. I was running them streets but the truth made me a man. Shit I don't really speak cause she'll never understand. That's why I ain't even tell her about these voices in my head. I'm still trying to manage my anger like Uncle Craig.
I seen heaven turn to hell, I gotta stay alive. Lord have mercy on my soul, stand by my side. I killed the old man and I watched him die. Lost a couple niggas, guess he wasn't my round. They play my niggas, lay you down, they all down to ride. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay alive. Keep my gun in my arm, I gotta stay alive.
I will wait.
Dirty Bird.
Buck roll. Wait on.
Not no more. It's shocking.
I will wait.
Yeah. I've been feeling how I'm feeling like. Fuck how niggas feeling, I've been waiting my turn. Walking through the pits of hell, still feeling the burn. At 3 in the morning when I'm tossing the turn. Shorty gripping me tight, tell me it'll be alright. I'm gripping the pistol, having visions of death. Yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I'm in the alley with the scully on tilt. I'm ready to pull this homie, conflicted in heart. Spent too much time in the midst of the dark. I'm itching in this truth just to play my part. On a Saturday in the depths of the dark, where the zombies walk. Times Square, let the scriptures bark, and the generals talk. Fishing for that young man or the princess he called before the reapers involved. Show your chariots, Lord, dead in the middle of their war. Let your trumpets blow, revelations reveal. Let the sky crack wide, show the color of Christ. Let me watch the descent before I enter my chamber. Allow me to enter the chamber. See the truth is amazing. Hoping, wishing, and praying. I earn my place in the kingdom. Plant my feet on the pavement. Put my brick in them chasing for the crown of this promise. For that crown of this promise.
Right, sure is.
44.
Sure is. We wait for instructions and orders in these truths, man. Wise man once told me seek counsel. Never rely on your own understanding. It's not. This UPK, the heart different. Black on black boots ain't forces to walk different. Muscle energy at 1,000 to spark different. And learned about the scriptures from generals taught different. Game bred pit with grip, the bark different. Priests and officers, we captains to talk different. Prophesy to the wind, and I endure to the end. Strap these niggas rock Christ, and ain't nothing to him, but check it. In your city, we them niggas on the corner. And all black changed men that put away the former. We militant, disciplined, as niggas that's in order. We shield swinging off our neck and fringes on the borders. Born rugged in these streets, learned the codes and the politics. And I ain't wait for the Lord, he got me out of it. Hood nigga, hard knock alumni with scholarship. Big Glock was up on my hip, up in them colleges. And you ain't saved if you a Christian and you waiting on it. Heaven not by observation, go and take that moment. Cause your faith is in your work while you debating on it. I'm enduring to the end, this Glock ain't got no safety on it.
Sure don't. Can't wait till the Most High come and open these skies up and let Yahweh come down here and bomb these motherfuckers. Bombing all these heathens. Their time is up.
I can't wait, though I feel conflicted. Mind shifted to the point I gotta check my spirit. Eyes lifted to the hills like Yahweh there. So potent, So strong, just feel it in the air. If we don't hearken, as poor judgment would disappear. He's all seeing, all knowing. You don't want to visit, whether short wave or long range, his aim is vivid. We can't run, can't hide, he'll come and get us. There's no test, no rest in this war business. I'm on the corner with my brothers and my garment on. Mic in my hand, chanting white man's the devil song. Provoking spirit in my people to get our gather on. Shots fired at hellfire, we get our Bible on. Wanna eat, find the menu in Leviticus. Learn to walk, talk scriptures here, this is how to fish. Hit the ground, running hard. We staying on our job, cause Babylon is falling. Like the song that we made for y'all. We live and die for this shit. There's no plan B. We the Lord's sheep. The Lord's chosen would never flee. If it's not for the Most High, we would never be.
Never be. Stand the fuck up or sit the fuck down. Either you winning or you losing. Either you winning or somebody telling the truth and somebody telling a lie. I'm telling a lie. Wake the fuck up. Keep it moving, keep it pushing. Know better, do better. Dirty bird. You heard?
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So that you said that they put millions of my houses. Yes, you said so. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Salakia. Shalom, Israel, with the ISUPK coming out of 1 West Home, New York, 125th Street under Commander General YAHANNA. This is 1969. We've been bringing out the truth that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true children of of Israel per the Bible. I'm in Priest and Officer 50 Yashala, holding down this history class for Priest and Officer 500 Adunya. Shout out to young man Hector in the chat. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakatah. The water for reminding me about the sound, because I was going to keep going. All right, it's history class. I got a lot of clips to bring out showing our prominent black inventors and periods of time in history. And I'm going to also show that there's an evil spirit over the Esau's kingdom, right? Because a lot of white people in today's time, you got some that'll sit there and say they love black people, and a large vast majority of them will sit there and say they got no problem with watching us burn in so-called hell. You know, the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and every chance they get, they will unalive us if we allow them to. You understand? Because they know who we are. We don't know who we are. They know we're the Lord's chosen. And that's why they mad at us. That's why they hate us. That's why they have such a vain disgust for us. Because we're the ones the Lord chose, not them. It's a perpetual hatred. You understand? And that's in the Bible. We go to the book of Romans, chapter 9. Verse 13, it says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. That just shows possession right there. The Most High said he loved Jacob, who is our progenitor of all 12 tribes of Israel. and he hated Esau, who is the forefather of all white people. Now, there's no white people are white people. They're all one race. There's no different nations of white people. It's just geographical differences. And this is what in today's society confuses people. You think because you live in Russia, you're called Russian and you're something different from other races. No, you're white. You just live in Russia. Germans, y'all white. Y'all just live in Germany and y'all have a native tongue for all your native land, y'all have a native tongue. But you're all white people. All y'all come from the same father. You understand? All y'all white people, y'all forefather. It's like y'all forefather is Esau. Jacob is our forefather. You understand? And at one point, we all came from Adam. But white people are disowned. And the scripture says right there, as it is written, Jacob have I loved and Esau have I hated. The Most High hates Esau. You understand? Let's see. Let me see. Let me go up. I want to see if it shows where, because there's a verse in here where it explains how Esau came out first, but Jacob cleaved to his heel, right? And spiritually, that symbolized the ending of one kingdom and the beginning of another, right? Meaning, once Esau's kingdom is over, the kingdom of Jacob is going to rule forever. See, not only do we have the promise of the Most High, Esau gave us his birthright. And that's another reason why the white man has such a perpetual hatred towards blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Because he lacked self-control and lacked discipline. He couldn't wait until Jacob cooked the goddamn meat. For him to cook, he couldn't wait for his brother to cook dinner. He acted like he was going to die of starvation from out there hunting. You understand? So Jacob told him, and I'm paraphrasing. Jesus. Slovakia. I don't know why I keep yawning. Anywho. So, Esau kept acting like he's going to die if he don't get no food. Jacob said, let me cook this food and I will fix you a plate as soon as it's ready. Oh, I'm going to die, Jacob. Oh, I'm going to die if I'm a faint, if I don't eat something right now. He like, you want it. You want this right now. You can't wait. No, I can't wait. He's like, all right. I'm paraphrasing. He said, sell me your birthright and I'll give it to you right now. He's like, fine, sure, you can have it. I'm hungry, feed, let me eat. Yeah. Gave him the raw piece of meat. He ate it and was happy. He was satisfied. And with that, we have the birthright. And we have the promise and we have the covenant. You understand? And that's another Slovakia. And that's another main reason why Esau has such a perpetual hatred for us. You understand? This is why the white man hates blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians so much. I don't think I have it, or do I? Trump just had a whole slew of Hispanic brothers. He just had a whole slew of Hispanic brothers shipped off to the worst prison on this side of the continent, Ecuador, right? These brothers ain't got no criminal record, but because they have tattoos and look like they're gang affiliated, but have no priors, Trump is shipping them off. Let's go to the footage. Slovakia. Let's go to the footage, shall we?
Actual video. Go ahead and play it. ICE has admitted that many of the alleged gang members deported by Trump didn't actually have criminal records in the US. More than 200 migrants have been deported to one of the world's toughest prisons in El Salvador, despite a district judge instructing for the plane to be turned around.
A judge said don't take them there because they haven't even been to court. No one, and the fact that they're over there because they're in a gang, I don't know if you know this, brothers and sisters, but it's not illegal to be in a gang. It's illegal to sell drugs. It's illegal to murder. It's illegal to steal. It's not illegal to get MS-13 on your wrist, to get a tattoo on your wrist. That's legal. These people are in this jail because of tattoos, which are legal to have. And a judge has not said they're a murderer, they're a rapist, they're a drug dealer. They had the tattoo. And they were sent to this jail. And now ICE knows that these are not criminals at all. Can you imagine getting a tattoo when you're 13 and now you're in jail for it at 35 years old? That's what's happening to your brothers. That's happening to them. And if you don't care, it's because, one, you don't know that the Hispanics are your blood brothers. Carne de mi carne, de mi carne. Hueso de mi hueso. Flesh of your flesh, blood of your blood. You don't know that. And so because of that, you don't care. You will care when you're in jail because of a tattoo. When you're in jail because of the neighborhood you live in. Then you will care about what's happening to your brothers.
Real quick, just want to shed some light on that. You understand? It's just an example of the evil spirit that Esau has in this kingdom, right? And how wicked they are. Just a small example of how wicked Esau is, right? Slakia, I feel like I'm about to be gone again. I'm not even tired. I don't even know why I'm yawning like this. However, again, this is a very wicked spirit in this kingdom that's on the earth right now. And not only that, you know, right now is a time where the Most High Spirit is back in the earth. And this is a prime time that we seize it and take opportunity to get it in our grasp and take control of it, you understand? And learn who we are as a people. That should be a commandment, you understand? But I'm sure it is. It's just not worded like that, you know what I mean? Because in Zephaniah 2:1, it says, "Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired." We are the nation that's not desired, you understand? And this is why we need to gather together to spiritually combat this evil spirit that's over Esau, is over this kingdom at this time. Because that's the only way we're going to survive and make it into the kingdom that we're fit to be in. You understand? Where we won't be the slaves, they will be the slaves. You understand? Even the lowest brother on the totem pole will still be richer than the richest man that's in Esau's kingdom now. Even the lowest on the totem pole in God's kingdom will be richer than Elon Musk, will be richer than Bilderberger, will be richer than Rockefeller, will be richer than JP Morgan. You understand? Far more wealth. And he's the man on the bottom of the totem pole. So imagine how wealthy those above him are. You understand? It's the book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, meaning don't believe every spirit that you encounter in life, because you're going to have some good spirits, some bad spirits. The scriptures say, you know, we've been scattered among the four corners of the earth, and we've also been scattered to places and placed among heathens. You understand? So we have to learn how to discern our surroundings, so we don't partake in the ways or the sins or the customs of the heathen. For that reason, you understand? It's a book of 1 John chapter 4 verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God's, meaning the priests and prophets here in the ISUPK are spirits that are of God. You understand? Because we don't just read the scriptures, we live the scriptures. This is the difference between us and the Catholic priests. This is the difference between us and the ISUPK under commanding General YAHANNA and those so-called Christian pastors. You understand? Or those so-called bishops and all of that at the Vatican. This is the difference between us and the Pope. You understand that the Lord removed from this earth with COVID or whatever illness he had. You understand? May the Lord see, deal with him how he see fit. Because all he did was just remove him in the flesh from the earth. Now let's see what he do with his. Let's wait and see what the Most High do with his spirit. You understand? Because many false prophets are going out into the world. See, now among us in the world, we have false prophets and false teachers. These are the spirits that the scriptures is telling us to be mindful of and try to strive from not being around. You understand? This is why we have to learn how to have the discernment of what kind of spirits are we surrounded by. You understand? Because even though they put a smile on their face or might sound pleasant, they could be ravening wolves waiting to basically, not literally, but eat you alive. And it's some oppressors, which unfortunately are white people, have eaten blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians alive. They have barbecued. I'm gonna say this only for teacher purposes. They have barbecued niggas and ate their flesh. You understand? Put us on a spit, rotated us like a goddamn rotisserie bird, and ate us. Yes, that's what they do. That's how they have done us, and that's how they treat us in today's society. They just don't do it in the literal term. You understand? Now, that being said, I'm gonna go to my first video for history class. Let's check out how great we are as a people.
Couldn't speak, he couldn't tell you what he wanted to eat, how he felt, or even how he hurt. But he could replay full conversations he heard years earlier, word for word. He'd hear a piano piece once and perform it perfectly in any key. He was autistic, blind, and enslaved. His name was Thomas Blind Tom Wiggins, and he was one of the most extraordinary minds in American history. But you won't find his name in your child's music book because history doesn't like to honor Black genius that it could know. Born in 1849 on a plantation in Georgia, Tom was born blind, and by all white standards of the time, he was deemed useless. But his enslaved parents, Damina and Charity Wiggins, knew different. They saw something in him, and when his enslaver gave him access to a piano, something miraculous happened. Tom didn't just play music, he became music. He taught himself how to play and soon was dragging furniture across the floor to mimic thunder, tapping glasses to recreate tones, playing 12 hours a day, nonstop, memorizing and mimicking music, sounds, voices, and entire conversations from years before. Imagine being unable to express your needs, but able to express full symphonies with your fingers. When word spread of his talent, his white enslavers saw one thing: profit. Tom was put on tour by Colonel James Bethune, who signed contracts and collected all the money and claimed guardianship. Even after slavery ended, they fought to keep Tom legally under control. By the time he was 20, Blind Tom was earning over $100,000 a year. That's millions of dollars in today's money. He performed at the White House. He sold out concerts across the U.S. and Europe. He wrote over 100 compositions, including the famous Battle of Manassas, and he never saw a dime. They sold his talent, they commodified his autism, and they called him a curiosity, a marvel, a miracle, but not a man. Blind Tom was exploited in life and forgotten in history, but not today. Today we say his name. We tell our kids about him. We make sure that Black children who think, move, or learn differently are protected and not paraded, elevated and not exploited, funded and not forgotten. Because brilliance doesn't always speak in words. Sometimes it speaks in sound. And if we don't listen, We'll keep losing our geniuses to greed. Blind Tom didn't just play music, he left us a legacy. And it's our job to make sure it's never silenced again. Now drop a black fist in the comments and share with someone who needs to hear this Black History gem.
That's just one of the many examples that I show every single week. Every week of how great we are as a people, you understand? But this also shows how goddamn wicked the white man is. I gotta call it for what it is. I can't get a strike for being honest and telling the truth. I rather tell the ugly truth instead of a pretty lie. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat nothing. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and the definition of devil is adversary. He is our op. That is our one and true op. You know what I'm saying? He is the biggest op we got. We got other ops, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Egyptology. You understand? Shalom, Yahweh Shemar Alathem Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah says. Welcome to the history class today. But yeah, you understand, like, the white man is the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of. You understand? You see how they exploit our people for profit, and they don't even give us not only the credit, they don't give us no money, they don't give us our just due. They just we build everything and they just capitalize on it and profit, and that's it. Salakia. Salakia, Israel. All right. Again, like I said, the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and it's sad how they exploited us when we showed promise and when we showed genius, but yet they tried to say that baby was useless. But seeing he turned out to be a bona fide genius, and they used him for profit, didn't give him a dime, but they made sure he looked good and played the part and made that money for them, though. These bastards have a wicked ass spirit. Understand when I say that this kingdom has a very evil spirit upon the earth. You understand? They have a very wicked spirit upon this earth. If we go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, starting at verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Now, this is saying this because if you don't stay strong with the Lord and stay engrossed and rooted into these law, statutes, and commandments to follow and keep them so the Lord can be with you, you're going to fall under the customs of the white man or the East Indian man or the Muslim man. You understand? Which are the Arabs predominantly. You're going to fall into their customs. You're going to deal with heathens. You're going to lay with heathens. And you're going to end up following their customs, believing in their God. Verse 11, put on the whole armor of God. You understand? Put on those law, statutes, and commandments and wear it like armor. Keep that 1611 King James Bible with you. You understand? The King's Concordance, the Strong's Concordance. You understand? Your Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Keep that stuff with you like it's armor. Wear the armor of God, meaning wear these law, statutes, and commandments to protect you. You understand? That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Exactly my point why I said what I said. Wear these law, statutes, and commandments like armor to combat against the devil. You understand? You're going to need it spiritually against this white man, this oppressor. You're going to need it, Israel. There's a very wicked spirit upon this earth with these bastards. All they do is seek to destroy us or exploit us for profit. because I was looking at something earlier and it was very disturbing. Ice Cube, this was an update in the Diddy trials. Ice Cube walked in there and everybody was shocked to see Ice Cube. They look like Ice Cube. Like, I ain't never see you at no Diddy party. You understand? But when he went up on that stand, he came up there voluntarily with a folder, with a file. You understand? And he came out in front of that judge and the news crews and Diddy and everybody and exposed Hollywood, exposed the powers to be, exposed the so-called alleged Illuminati, exposed Diddy, exposed Oprah, exposed others. You understand? Because Esau has a wicked hold on our prominent black actresses, actors, and entertainers in today's society. That's why it's impossible damn near to get a record deal or to blow up and make some money. Then the fame, it's going to be difficult to make some real money. You can make some good, quiet money, but it's going to be difficult, damn near impossible, to make the substantial amount of money you want to make to get you and your family out of the slums and barrios and into better living situations and better health situations overall. You understand? You want to be able to raise your kids in an environment you ain't got to worry about them getting unalived or worry about them having to be in gangs as they grow older. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's bad enough our generation became products of our environment. You know, a lot of us that had parents that got high and relatives that got high, we is a catalyst for it because a lot of us sold those drugs to them. Even if it wasn't directly us, we are still responsible and have to take accountability for a lot of the dastardly deeds that were done. You understand, Israel? We as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have to take accountability and responsibility for the wicked, disgusting pieces of garbage that we were in the world before we came into the truth. You understand? As much as I blame the oppressor for being the devils that they are, putting us in the real, it's for teacher purposes, like for my language, but putting us in these shitty conditions, you understand, and treating us very extremely poorly, putting us in these mission impossible positions, and we have to try to overcome it like it's a goddamn hurdle. It's sickening. You understand? It's sickening and it's disgusting, and I'm tired of it. But this is stuff that we have to deal with. This is why we're not supposed to deal with these heathens. Yes, we could do business with these heathens, but we got to be mindful of the business that we conduct with them because they don't want us above them. They don't want us over them. They're not going to put us in a position to where we're going to be upper echelon, as they say, or top tier, or top percent, as they say. You get what I'm saying? Like, we gotta really grind to get that. You know what I'm saying? We got to make those opportunities present itself for us. Salakia, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Again, more of what I'm breaking down. And this is why I'm explaining about what happened in that courtroom, because Ice Cube, as a matter of fact, like Ice Cube really exposed the industry for what it was. And exposed Diddy for him being the front runner of a lot of that what went on. Hold on, Salakia. I'm about to share this to y'all right now, real quick before I get back to this, because this is all part of history, because this is a part of a grand scheme of things that's going on, right? Let me explain something to you, Israel. There's a wicked ass spirit upon this goddamn earth right now. It is a very wicked spirit upon this earth, and you got a very select few people that's exploiting it. You understand? I'm gonna play this for y'all real quick and then get right back to the history lesson. But check this out. This is why I'm saying when it says, for we wrestle against flesh and blood, meaning when we fight against ourselves, to get us to stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, to get us to stop being whoremongers and whores and such, and not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Now we have to fight against principalities. We got to fight against other powers to be. You understand? The powers of the white man over this kingdom. We have to fight against the rulers of darkness of this world, meaning all the people behind the scenes that control us, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, like puppets in the entertainment world. You get what I'm saying? Whether if it's hip-hop, TV, whatever. And against spiritual wickedness at high places, again. High places like not just Oprah and Diddy and Quincy Jones, but people above them that's in the background. Check this out, y'all.
History, something no one saw coming happened again. The court had already heard from major names, Cassie, Will Smith, Monique, but then out of nowhere, Ice Cube walked in. And the energy shifted instantly. He didn't show up to make a scene. He wasn't chasing cameras or headlines. He walked in with purpose. And in his hands was a folder. Inside were connections, names, voice memos, and paperwork that made the entire courtroom go dead silent. But in that moment, everyone realized this wasn't just about Diddy anymore. What Ice Cube was exposing was a system, one that didn't just protect power, it enforced it. A system built on silence, fueled by fear, and designed to reward obedience. This wasn't about fame. It wasn't even about money. It was about control. And the moment you stopped playing along, you weren't just pushed out, you were erased. For years, people whispered names. Jamie Foxx, Oprah Winfrey, Quincy Jones. But now, those whispers had evidence. And the one bringing it forward was Cube. Reporters barely had time to process it. The flash of cameras, the shuffle of papers, Diddy's lawyers trying to keep composure. And then, boom, the doors opened. Ice Cube, eyes locked forward like he'd been waiting for this moment for a long, long time. The tension hit like a wave. Some jurors sat up straighter, eyes locked forward. Even the judge paused for a second, clearly caught off guard. And when Diddy finally looked up and realized who had just entered, his whole expression shifted. "I wasn't invited," Cube said. "I came here on my own." The judge nodded. And in that moment, Cube started talking. The judge gave a small nod. And just like that, Ice Cube began to speak. But he didn't sound like a performer. Not like a rapper, not like the movie star people knew. He spoke like a man who had been carrying a secret for years and was finally done staying quiet. He looked straight at the jury and said, "Some of y'all didn't realize I was not part of their inner circle. That's what pissed them the most." The room went silent. What came next didn't just rattle the courtroom. It cracked open an illusion that had protected the powerful for decades. Cube started with the club, the secret circle in the entertainment world that nobody dares to name, but everyone knows exists. The ones smiling on red carpets, making deals behind the curtain, gatekeepers, power brokers. They don't bring you in because they like you, Cube told them. They bring you in to control you. And if you don't play along, that's when it starts. He turned his eyes toward Diddy, who sat there visibly shaken. They cancel your meetings, they plant fake stories, they start rumors, they make calls you never hear, but you feel the impact. Cube said he watched it happen for years. Real artists, good people invited into a golden circle, given a taste of success, then told to kneel, told to sign the paper, play the part, smile for the camera. And if you say no, you don't just lose jobs, you disappear. And then Q said it straight. Diddy wasn't just in the circle, he was the one pulling the strings. Jurors leaned in, the gallery went still. Even the judge looked like he needed a moment to process what had just been said. He leaned forward and asked, "Do you need a break?" Cube didn't even blink. He shook his head, turned back to the jury and said, "You want to know why I'm here? Because they tried to break someone I respect? Jamie Foxx." That's when the next secret drops, and trust me, it's just getting started. One celeb after another comes forward, and the chaos is just warming up. Reporters stopped writing, heads turned. Cube explained how it all started the way it always does.
Ever wondered what your home looks like from space? Enter your address and get a 360-degree satellite view of your
Friendliness, open invites, private parties, random phone calls from people you never thought would have your number. Jamie was rising fast. His talent is undeniable. And that's when they took notice. First, it's a compliment, Cube said. Then favors. Then it becomes controlled. He told the court that Jamie confided in him quietly, carefully, with fear in his voice. They treat you like family, Cube said, but only if you play the game. And if you don't, you let this silence answer. Cube spoke about the infamous basketball parties, the blacked out SUVs, the no phone rules, the strange guests. It wasn't just basketball, he said. It was a test to see who you'd obey, who you'd question, and who you'd protect. Jamie always stayed respectful, smiled, played it cool, but he never gave in completely. And that's when the shift began. Suddenly, Jamie was difficult. Suddenly, his health was in question. His name vanished from movie headlines and popped up in shady gossip blogs. Cube said that medical emergency in 2023, that wasn't just health, it was a warning. Cube didn't stop there. He said Diddy's inner circle didn't just host parties, they recorded them, collected footage, built files. People never knew they were being filmed. But they were, and once they had it, they kept it. Cube told the court Jamie once called him after one of those events. He didn't explain much, but what he did say was chilling. Cube, I can't talk about it, but I can't unsee it either. And just when the room couldn't get quieter, Cube dropped another name, Oprah. It wasn't just Puff, he said, this goes deep. He explained that right before Jamie's big Oscar moment, after Ray, in the middle of his rise, he got a phone call. It was Oprah. But she wasn't calling to celebrate. She told Jamie, you're blowing it. Jamie was stunned. He thought she was reaching out with support. Instead, she told him to pull himself together and said she'd be introducing him to someone who could help. That someone was Quincy Jones. Cube said he didn't need to explain who Quincy was. Everyone in Hollywood knows, he said. On the outside, he's a legend, but behind the scenes, he's feared. Oprah brought Jamie to Quincy's house. But it wasn't a celebration, it wasn't advice, it was something else entirely. Jamie told Cube it was one of the strangest nights of his life. He said it didn't feel like help, it felt like training, like he was being prepped for something. Cube said Jamie never fully explained what happened that night, but the look in his eyes when he tried to, that was enough. Oprah called it responsibility, Cube said. Quincy called it legacy, but what they really gave him was a leash. After that meeting, Jamie started to change, not because he wanted to, because he had to. Cube recalls him saying, the only way to survive in this game is to pretend. And Cube said he watched him pretend for years. But today, nobody's pretending anymore. Cube leaned back in his chair, calm, serious. Then he said it, Quincy Jones ain't just a producer, he's the godfather. The courtroom froze. Cube looked to the judge. This isn't gossip, he said. This is truth, and it needs to be on the record. He described Quincy as someone who's praised in public, feared in private. Someone whose power came not just from talent, but from what he had on people. You don't get that powerful without making deals, Cube said. And I'm not talking about music deals, I'm talking about soul trades. He explained that Jamie wasn't introduced to Quincy by accident. That meeting was arranged. A handoff from one handler to the next. Jamie told him, Cube, that wasn't guidance, that was instruction. According to Cube, Quincy made it seem like mentorship, but Jamie knew the truth. It felt like I was being processed, he said. Not helped, processed. And Jamie wasn't alone. Cube said he'd heard similar stories from other men in the industry. Talented men who vanished, who had public breakdowns, who changed their whole image overnight and were never the same again. Quincy's charm might be the mask, Cube said, but the message is the same as Diddy's. Do what you're told or you won't work again. And then he dropped something even darker. Cube said he had seen photos, private ones, passed around in secret over the years. Pictures that were never meant to exist. In every one of them, Quincy was there, smiling. But the people in the photos, they weren't smiling, Cube said. He told the court he couldn't confirm everything, but he could confirm this. Quincy isn't just a mentor, he's a middleman. And the ones he answers to, we still don't know their names. Then he stood a little taller. You want to know how they keep you quiet? He asked. It's not just fear, it's blackmail. Cube said Diddy's power wasn't just in his money. It was in the secrets he kept. The footage, the files, the tapes collected over decades from parties, hotels, studios, private jets, all organized, all saved, all weaponized. They don't just invite you to party, Cube said. They record you at those parties. He turned to the prosecution. You want to know why so many stayed silent? Ask how many got a flash drive in the mail. Ask how many got a blocked call playing audio of something they don't even remember. Ask how many careers vanished after they said no. And Jamie, He wasn't the only one. He said he knew 2 other actors who had been caught up in Diddy's events. One of them even called him terrified, saying he blacked out after midnight and woke up in a hotel room with a contract on the table. Ice Cube had spent the last few minutes talking about others: Jamie Foxx, Quincy Jones, the system, the silence. But now he turned the spotlight on himself. I went to one of those parties, he said, just once. It was the early 2000s, no official invite, no flyer.
It goes on to talk about a lot of more horrendous truths about the industry and about Diddy and about the all the puppets like Oprah and Diddy and Quincy Jones. But I brought that out to say this, right? Esau is behind all of it. The white man is behind all of it. There's no other way to put it. You understand? They want to say the Jewish man, or they're all white people. They're all the ones that's behind it, pulling the strings. They're the puppet masters. They're the ones pulling the strings of all these black people, as always, about control, about enslavement. You understand? And this is why it's such a wicked spirit over this earth, and we have to separate and come out of her. You understand? I'm going to bring that scripture out next, but this one is the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread over serpents and scorpions and over all the powers of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Understand what this means. If you keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, and not just read them, but follow them, it's like, and live them, like truly live them, the Most High will give you the strength and give you the power to tread over serpents and scorpions and over all the powers of your enemies. Meaning any little snare, trap, obstacle that they try to put in your path, you'll have the Lord to give you the power to trample over that, tread right on over that. You understand? All these so-called powers to be and stuff like that, they are not stronger than the Most High God. The Most High God will give you the power over all. You understand? It has to come from him and only him. You understand? Slocky, hold on. Let me get this precept for y'all right quick. I got it in my precept book, but I have to dig and look for it. It's the book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Israel, blacks, Hispanics, and we have to come out of the ideologies of the white man. We have to come out of the principalities of trying to survive in their kingdom, playing by their rules, trying to kiss their ass and schmooze up to them, thinking that they're going to accept us into their kingdom. No, they're not. How many niggas got to get unalived by white people for y'all to get the goddamn point? They don't want us, they not for us, and they don't give a shit. What is it going to take for y'all to get it? Like, seriously, what is it going to take? Dudes got to hit home for y'all to wake up and get the point? These scriptures don't lie. The media don't lie. Social media not lying. You have to take a serious look at what's going on in your surroundings and really put it into your everyday life with these scriptures and learn how to have a discernment and put 2 and 2 together. You understand, Israel? And it says, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. Stop being cool with these white people. Some of these white people are so cool, but you got to understand, they are plants. They are, as my brother, Officer Kazak, out in Philly, says, they are DEI hires. They are put in place to infiltrate blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Not only are they put in place and planted there to infiltrate, they are there to infiltrate our customs, our ways, embody them for themselves, and seem real cool and fit right on in. You understand? People like Aiden Ross, he real cool, got all these niggas on his podcast, on his platforms, but I'm telling you, he start acting different when they start doing shit that he don't like. You understand? The second he start doing stuff they don't like, that's when you want to switch up the program. You start seeing them distant. And then you'll start seeing stuff happen to these people that be on this platform. As you start dry snitching, you start tattletelling. You understand? You got to stay away from these people. You could do business, but keep it business. You understand? Keep it strictly business and keep it pushing. You'd rather want to dwell with your people and work with your people. At least you know what you're dealing with. You get what I'm saying? If you keep it straight with them, if you keep it straight with us, we want to keep it straight with you. It's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? And it says, and that ye receive not of her plagues. If we don't partake in the sins of America, if we don't partake in the sins of the Christian church, if we don't partake in the sins of Esau, you understand? Then we will not be cursed with any of the plagues that the Most High has lined up for these wicked, disgusting bastards in the first place. You understand? I pray y'all do understand. Now, with that, play my next video. This video is about MLK's mother, somebody who's not fake like he is, Mr. Michael King.
His mother spoke 4 languages, was a Pan-African activist, and was institutionalized for 25 years for being too black, too proud. Yeah, I'm sure they didn't teach you that in school. Before the world knew Malcolm, there was Louise Little, the real revolutionary. She was a fearless Garveyite, a brilliant strategist, and a woman who taught her babies to walk in their power long before they could even pronounce the word liberation. Born in Grenada in 1894,
Salakia, I stand corrected, not MLK's mom, Malcolm X's mother, Salakia.
Story started with Trump. Her grandparents were kidnapped from West Africa, but they were rescued by British Navy and forced into indentured labor. Her mother, Edith, was raped by a white Scottish man. From that act of violence, Louise was born. But Louise turned that pain into purpose. She was fluent in English, French, Creole, and patois. She was educated, strategic, and she refused to bow. When she moved to Canada and joined Marcus Garvey's UNIA, she found her calling to build up the race one household at a time. She married Earl Little, a bold black preacher from Georgia, and together they traveled the Midwest, spreading Garvey gospel of black nationalism, land ownership, and self-sufficiency. But that kind of power, it scared folks, especially when it came from a black couple teaching other black folks to think freely. They weren't hurting anybody. They were minding their business, trying to unify their people, and the Klan came for them in Omaha. They had to keep moving to Milwaukee, to Lansing, because everywhere they went, their message of self-sufficiency made enemies. In 1929, their home was burned down by white supremacists. Then in 1931, Earl was killed, run over, and mutilated by a streetcar. Louise knew better. She said that the Black Legion, a Klan-affiliated white supremacist group, killed him. But the police, they ruled it a suicide. And guess what? The insurance company refused to pay out his life insurance policy. One of them ruled that it was a suicide. The other one claimed that the death was an accident. Either way, she got nothing. A widowed mother of 8, starving, grieving, and still she refused to let the system win. But the system had another play. Welfare workers didn't like her resistance. She wouldn't beg. She wouldn't lower her standards. She demanded dignity, and they labeled her crazy. So in 1938, they took her children and they locked her away in a mental institution for 25 years. Why? Because she was too proud. She was too educated, and she was too unapologetically black, because she refused to raise her children under the foot of white supremacy. But her children never gave up on her. Malcolm, along with his siblings, worked tirelessly to secure their mother's release. In 1963, after 25 years of institutionalization, Louise was finally free. She spent the remainder of her life surrounded by her family, living in Michigan until her passing in 1989. But Louise wasn't just Malcolm X's mother. She was the blueprint. She taught him to love blackness. She taught him to speak boldly. She taught him that we come from kings and queens, not criminals in chains. Her story is our story. It's about how strong black women are policed, punished, and pathologized for doing what any other woman would be praised for, and that's protecting her children and fighting for her family's future. Louise Little is a revolutionary matriarch, and every time we rise, build, and resist, we also carry her name. So today, we honor her, but not just because she gave birth to Malcolm, but because she gave birth to a movement. Now drop a black fist in the comments and share it with someone who needs to hear this Black History gem. Did you know that an enslaved black man built a steam engine powerful enough to move a warship, but he was never allowed to get credit for? Yep. Let me introduce you to Benjamin Bortley. He was a self-taught engineer who was out here building machines at just 16 years old while he was still enslaved. But because he was black, because he was a slave, he was denied a patent for his work. So let's talk about how he still found a way to make history. Benjamin Bortley was born enslaved in 1830 in Maryland. And even though they tried to keep black people from learning, Benjamin was too smart to be stopped. At 16 years old, he started experimenting with scrap metal, using things like a gun barrel, pewter, and steel to build his working steam engine. And guess who noticed? The U.S. Naval Academy. They saw his talent and they put him to work, letting him assist in scientific experiments, but not as a free man. Then in the 1850s, Benjamin took it to another level. He built a steam engine powerful enough to propel a warship's cutter at 16 knots. I have no idea what that is, but it was faster than most ships were at the time. But here's the problem. Enslaved people were not allowed to hold patents. Yep, that's right. They stole that man's inventions because legally he wasn't even considered a person. So instead of getting the recognition he deserved, he was forced to sell his engine just to buy his freedom. But Benjamin didn't stop there. He took that money from his invention along with extra earnings from his work, and in 1859 he bought his freedom for around $1,000. And then he kept pushing forward. He became an instructor in the philosophical department at the Naval Academy, using his knowledge to educate others. Benjamin Bortley's story is just one example of how Black excellence was stolen, it was hidden, and it was erased. They didn't want us to own our brilliance, but guess what? We built it anyway. They didn't want us to hold patents, but guess what? We invented it anyway. And today, we are still reclaiming our history because they can't erase the truth. Now, if this story blew your mind, drop a black fist in the comments. And if you already knew about Benjamin Bortley, tag somebody who needs to hear this. Because Black history isn't just the past, it's the foundation of the future. And let's make sure we keep telling our stories. My head for real. There was a Black woman in the 1970s, a self-made millionaire and unapologetically generous, who quietly amassed a real estate empire worth over $100 million. Her name? Eula McClaney. But I bet they never taught you that in school, did they? Because while she was building Black wealth, they were plotting on how to steal it. Born in 1914 in Alabama, Eula McClaney turned a $125 investment into an empire. She owned land, buildings, hotels, and even horse farms. She built property in multiple states and became one of the richest Black women in America. But she wasn't just rich, she was righteous. She donated to HBCUs, helped fund civil rights efforts, and used her resources to lift her people. She believed in Black self-sufficiency, land ownership, and legacy. But she passed away in 1986. But instead of her wealth being passed down to her heirs or her community, the state took it. Yep, you heard it right. After her death, Alabama declared her retroactively incompetent. After the fact, they allowed the state to seize her estate, liquidate her assets, and block her loved ones from inheriting the empire that she built. Millions gone. Property sold. Legacy erased. Why? Because she died without a will, without a trust, without the legal protection that's necessary when you're Black, when you're wealthy, and a woman in America. That wasn't just financial mismanagement. This was theft in broad daylight. And it happened to us more than you think, through probate court, through shady guardianships, through policies built to rob Black families of generational wealth. But here's the lesson. We don't need to just build wealth. We need to protect it. You gotta have living trusts, wills, power of attorneys, LLCs, and life insurance. We need to have that paperwork as tight as the portfolio, because what happened to Eula wasn't just tragic, it was preventable. Now drop a black fist in the comments and share this with someone who needs to know. He should have been enslaved, but instead, in the middle of the 1700s, before and during the Revolutionary War, Paul Cuff was free, making money and making a difference. While the world was enslaving men who looked like him, He was building ships, stacking wealth, and mapping out a global vision. This man didn't just break the mold, he built the blueprint. Paul Cuff was born in 1759 in Massachusetts to a free Ashanti father, Kofi Slocum, and a Wampanoag native mother, Ruth Moses. His father had been kidnapped from West Africa, enslaved in colonial America, and eventually freed by Quakers. Then he bought land, he married a native woman, and he raised a family in freedom. That's the soil Paul came from. Freedom was in his blood, legacy was in his DNA. By the time Paul was a teen, he was already running his own business, and not just any business. He and his brother-in-law, Michael Weiner, built and captained one of the largest merchant vessels of their time. Now let that sink in. In the 1700s, while Black people were being chained, sold, and silenced, Paul Cuff was sailing across oceans. He was commanding crews, and he was trading with nations. This is what happens when you give a Black man a true freedom in mind, body, and spirit. He's going to flip it, he's going to fund it, and he's going to free others along the way. But Paul wasn't just a businessman. He was a freedom strategist. He fought against taxation without representation, demanding political rights for Black people in Massachusetts. He refused to stay small. He even met with President James Madison to advocate for Black economic power, and he won. He launched voyages to Sierra Leone, and he funded and led Black families to build independent lives on African soil. And when his hometown refused to educate Black children, guess what he did? He built the first integrated school with his own money. He married Alice Piquet, a native woman, and together they had 7 children. He passed on his maritime knowledge, his business acumen, and his revolutionary spirit to his nephews and his son, who carried the Cuff name and mission forward long after he passed in 1817. Paul Cuff is the blueprint. For men, he's proof that when a Black man is unbound, he builds nations and not just businesses. For women, he shows us the power of partnership, vision, and generational wealth. And for everybody, his life tells the truth. We've always had greatness in us. We just needed room to rise. So next time someone tells you what a Black man can't do, tell him what Paul Cuff did. He was free, he was fearless, and he was first. Now drop a Black fist in the comments and share with someone who needs to hear this Black History gem.
A young Black educator named Lawrence C. Jones arrived in Rankin County, Mississippi, where 80% of Black residents couldn't read or write. With just $1.65, 3 students, and a broken-down sheep shed, he founded Piney Woods School. No electricity, no running water, just vision. By 1918, his success made enemies. A white mob came to lynch him. But instead of running, Jones stood tall. He spoke, not with anger, but with truth. He told them about his school, his students, his mission, and something incredible happened. The mob dropped their weapons and donated money to his school. That school, Piney Woods, still stands today. Over a century later, it's one of the oldest Black boarding schools in America. Lawrence C. Jones didn't just survive. He transformed hate into help, ignorance into education, and turned a lynching into legacy.
Now, before I get to my next wave of videos, right? This is just a small example of showing how great Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are. You understand? Because if we don't bring this out for our knowledge and for us to gain wisdom, how are we going to know where we're going if we don't know where we came from? How can we move forward if we don't know where we started at? You understand? Like, we all know where we are, but how the hell did we end up where we are in the first place? You got to backtrack. You got to fact check. You understand? Look at how great Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are. Look how great inventions they've created throughout life that you see in today's time. It sustained the test of time. You understand? But you also see I'm going to give you a precept, and then I'm going to show you the wickedness of the spirits on this earth, because in the same breath that we made history, they try to deprive us and rob us of that said history because they wouldn't allow us to get patents because we used to be slaves. That's no excuse. But then they also had laws in place that said we're not even human. You understand? And then you got to really look up the legal jargon of the word human. There's a book called the Black Law Book, right? If you look inside this book, it'll break down regular ass words that's in today's vocabulary, but it gives you the actual true meaning. Like the word government. You understand? Like the word human. You know, like I pray y'all understand. But let me give you these precepts, right? This is the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, meaning these law, statutes, and commandments was written aforetime for our learning. What I'm bringing out with these videos and these clips and these articles about Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian inventors is written aforetime because this is for our learning. This is for us to learn of our heritage. You never know. Some of these people I'm bringing out might be your relative. This might be somebody in your bloodline. You might come from some of these Black inventors. But how will you know if you don't do your homework or research? It ain't like your parents did any research. It ain't like your grandparents did any research. You got to go back several generations just to find this out. And if you're not diligent in finding this information or going about gathering this information, how you going to know? Like, let's be realistic here. Let's call a spade a spade. How you going to know? How you going to find out? This book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might find hope. This is why everything was written aforetime. We have to lean on these laws, statutes, and commandments. Because if we lean on these laws, statutes, and commandments and live them, we then have hope as a people. Because if we are more fully human spiritually, you understand, then we can be more proactive in the flesh. You understand? But we have to fully embody our spirit as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians if we want to have hope to survive in this kingdom that Esau possesses currently. You understand, Israel? I pray y'all do understand. Now, let me go to this other precept for y'all before I bring the next set of videos out. Who yet? 3, 8. Here's a good one I ain't bring out yet. It's the book of 1 John, chapter 3, verse 8. He that committeth sins of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. Now, if you commit sins like your adversary, the devil, right, which happens to be the white man, if you, again, all this ties together with following the heathen's customs. You understand? Where it tells us to come out of her, come out of America, come out of the spirit of America, come out of the spirit of the white man, come out of the spirit of sin and wickedness and evil and Sodom and Gomorrah. You understand? We have to come out of that spirit. And we have to come out of the spirit of serving the devil by trying to serve the white man. Again, remember, devil means adversary. We have to stop trying to befriend these our real ops. We have to stop trying to befriend the real ops here and really stop partaking in the ways and sins of these said ops. It's not lawful. It's not lawful for us to do this. I pray y'all understand. It's the book of 1 John, chapter 3, verse 8. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. You understand? You have to take into consideration, Israel, what the scripture is saying. The Son of God was manifested for the purpose of making sure his people can combat the works of the devil. The devil is a son of God in the spirit. Christ is the Son of God in the flesh. Christ was manifested and created to combat the works of the devil by teaching us the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. And not only teaching us the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, but also how to live them, incorporate them in our everyday life, and how to embody them in our inward parts, meaning our heart. You understand? Because once it's embedded in our brain, we can digest it. You understand? Like, you are what you eat. If you digest spiritually, if you can digest these laws, statutes, and commandments, your body will function better spiritually. It's like when you go from being a meat eater to a vegan, and you stop eating meat and you just start eating more healthier organic food, more grass-fed food. You know what I mean? If you're going to eat something, you're going to eat something that's grass-fed. If you're not a full vegan, you get what I'm saying? Or you're going to have an alternative diet. You understand what I'm saying, Israel? Like, you're going to do something that's more beneficial to your overall bodily health. You get what I'm saying? So why not take this spiritually and not just physically and literally? Ingest these laws, statutes, and commandments and incorporate them in your everyday life, and you will at one point have everlasting life. You understand, Israel? Understand where I'm going. I'm teaching Black history, but I'm also teaching that there's an evil spirit over this earth. And even at those times where we were great, there was still an evil spirit over this earth, because the Most High had removed his spirit from the earth at those times that I'm bringing out. And we still were great, but we were lacking him. We were lacking the Most High God. We lacked Christ. Why do you think in between then and now, Christ did not walk in the flesh among the earth? Just think about that. After Christ. Just think about that. Because remember, the Spirit of Christ walked among this earth in the flesh 5 times already. The next time Christ walks upon this earth, is going to be the ending of Esau's kingdom and the beginning of Jacob's. I pray y'all understand. It's time that I bring out these next set of videos, y'all. I hope y'all ready. Stay tuned.
Part of the Jim Crow South, 1926. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 13 black men pooled their money, not for survival, but for power. They called it Safe Bus Company. At a time when black folks were banned from white-owned transit, these men built their own fleet, their own schedules, their own rules. They started with just a few buses, but before long, Safe Bus was carrying over 2.5 million passengers a year. Black-owned, black-run, black-driven. They weren't just transporting people, they were moving a movement. By the 1940s, it had become the largest black-owned transportation company in the entire world. Proof that when we unite, invest, and build, we don't just survive, we dominate. To my people, I ask, how many of us today are willing to do what they did? Banning all history, just the parts that make them uncomfortable. From Florida to Texas, from Tennessee to Iowa, over 18 states have passed laws restricting how teachers talk about race, slavery, and systemic oppression. They claim it's about divisive concepts. But what are they really afraid of? Afraid we'll learn how this nation was truly built. Afraid we'll uncover the systems still at play. Afraid we'll know our worth and our power. Black history is not just black people's history. It's world history. It's innovation, resistance, triumph. To erase it is to erase the soul of humanity's progress. So I ask again, what are they afraid of? because teaching black history might just liberate us all.
And that's why.
In the shadows of 1800s Philadelphia, one woman turned death into a weapon against slavery. Henrietta Bowers Duterte, born in 1817, was no ordinary businesswoman. After her husband passed, she took over his mortuary, becoming the first African-American woman undertaker in U.S. history. But her funeral home wasn't just for the dead. It was for the living, those running for their lives. She hid runaway slaves inside coffins, disguised them as mourners in funeral processions, smuggled them past slave catchers, under the noses of those who'd return them to chains. Her funeral parlor was freedom's secret sanctuary. Duterte wasn't working alone. She joined forces with abolitionist legends like Harriet Tubman, William Still, and Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. She also gave back, supporting freedmen and fueling the fight for justice long after the war. Henrietta Duterte buried the old system, one soul at a time. In 1909, a young black educator named Lawrence C. Jones arrived in Rankin County. In 19th century Louisiana, black women in state prisons were locked in with men. No separation, no protection, no mercy. Many became pregnant, forced into motherhood by brutal circumstances. But the cruelty went deeper. In 1848, the state passed a law that declared every child born to these imprisoned black women was property of the state. No rights, no humanity. These innocent babies lived their entire childhood behind bars, growing up in cells until they turned 10. At 10, they faced a new horror, being auctioned off to the highest bidder, torn from their mother's arms. The profits from these auctions were funneled directly into white-only public schools, institutions black children weren't even allowed to attend. Black families were ripped apart, and black children were sold to fund a system that refused them. A system that profited from black suffering and denied black futures. Discovered the North Pole. But the truth? A black man got there first. His name was Matthew Henson. Born to free parents in 1866, he faced racism, rejection, and erasure. But that never stopped him. By 23, he was an expert sailor. By 40, he spoke Inuit, built sleds, led dogs, and navigated frozen death traps. And on April 6, 1909, he planted the flag first. Peary even admitted it. Henson was the best man for the job. He went farther than I did. But America ignored him. No medals, no praise, no legacy. Until we decided to remember. Matthew Henson didn't follow history. He made it. And now, we honor what the world tried to forget. They called him a killer, but he was just a child. George Stinney Jr., only 14 years old, was the youngest person executed in America in the 20th century. The year was 1944. In Jim Crow, South Carolina, 2 white girls were found murdered, and within hours the finger pointed at George, a black boy barely over 5 feet tall, weighing just 90 pounds. No lawyer, no evidence, just a rushed trial. A guilty verdict delivered by an all-white jury in 10 minutes. And 83 days later, George was strapped into the electric chair. The helmet didn't even fit his small head. He cried for his mother. But they flipped the switch anyway. 70 years later, he was exonerated. Too late for George, but never too late for the truth. Because America must remember. Justice denied to a child is justice denied to us all. Drones became the eyes in our skies. Before they delivered packages, shot Hollywood drones became the eyes in our skies. Before they delivered packages, shot Hollywood films, or mapped the world from above, one man was already decades ahead of his time. Meet Willie Techman Jenkins, an African-American inventor from South Central Los Angeles. In the early 1980s, while tech giants were still dreaming, Jenkins was building. He crafted early prototypes of remote-controlled flying machines, long before the word drone hit the mainstream. He wasn't just tinkering in a garage. He was designing systems for surveillance, search and rescue, and even agriculture. Innovations we now depend on every single day. But despite his brilliance, recognition never came. No headlines, no awards, no textbooks. Because history has a habit of overlooking black genius. Today, we say his name. Willie Techman Jenkins, a true pioneer of drone technology, a visionary who aimed for the sky and helped the world take flight. Follow us for more untold black history that deserves to be heard.
Hi, family. Let's talk about a woman who doesn't get nearly enough credit for shaping the music industry as we know it. When we think about rock and roll, names like Elvis, Chuck Berry, and Little Richard come up, right? But let me put you up on a woman who laid the foundation for them all. Her name, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She wasn't just a singer. She wasn't just a guitarist. She was a force, a game changer. Now, as a fellow female guitar player, it's always good to see another woman shine on an instrument that's traditionally for a man. And let's be real, if she were a man, especially a white man, her name will be in every single history book as the pioneer of rock and roll. But because she was a black woman in the 30s and 40s, her legacy got buried. Well, not today. Now picture this. It's the 1930s. Gospel is sacred. It stays in the church, played a traditional way. But Rosetta, she was not interested in fitting in that mold. She picked up that electric guitar and started playing like nobody else. She mixed gospel with blues, jazz, and swing. She created a sound that had never been heard before. She was strumming that guitar with power, with soul, with boldness, and guess who was watching? The so-called fathers of rock and roll. Elvis? Yep, he was inspired by her. Chuck Berry? Yep, he studied her moves. Little Richard? He straight up said he got his whole style from watching Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She was born in 1915 in a cotton plant in Arkansas. Rosetta was a prodigy. By the time she was a teenager, she was traveling the country, wowing audiences with her electric guitar skills. And this wasn't a time when women, especially black women, were even seen as instrumentalists. But Rosetta didn't care. She played anyway. In 1938, she did something unheard of. She took gospel music out of the church and onto the nightclub stage. Ooh-wee, that was scandalous back then. But guess what? People loved it, y'all. She was a superstar. She was the first gospel artist to record for a major record label. That's huge. The first to break barriers between gospel and secular music. And let's talk about how she stayed ahead of her time. In 1944, she recorded a song called Strange Things Happen Every Day, which became the first gospel song to cross over onto the R&B charts. A direct blueprint for rock and roll. Now, did she get the credit she deserved? Of course not. Because history has a way of erasing black women's contributions, especially when they are way too powerful and way too influential. But make no mistakes, Sister Rosetta Tharpe was the blueprint. In 2018, long overdue, she was finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But let's be clear, y'all, she didn't need their validation. Rock and roll wouldn't even exist without her. So next time someone talks about rock and roll music and doesn't mention Sister Rosetta Tharpe, correct them, because we know the truth. Now, this is something that you have not heard in the history books. So drop a black fist in the comments and share with somebody who needs to hear this Black History gem.
Another example of how our people are great, Israel, and this is something that we need to really sit and take notice. Like, don't ever let nobody tell you that you're not great. Don't ever let no white man tell you that you can't do something or you can't achieve something. Because you can achieve anything you put your goddamn mind to, Israel. Remember that. Learn and know who you are as a people. You understand? Don't let that smoke clear your mind from getting high or whatever the case may be. Don't let your judgment get clouded. You are great. You are special to the Most High. You have to realize that, Israel. I pray y'all understand. We're going to go to the book of Job, chapter 8, starting at verse 8. For inquiry, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to search of their fathers. Meaning, we have to search for our heritage. We have to search for our inheritance. We have to search for our covenant. We have to search for this knowledge. We have to search to gain this wisdom. We have to search to find and learn and understand our identity and who we are and the God we serve. You understand? Just because we not in school no more, we back in school and we got homework to do. We have to study and learn who the hell we are as a people. Learn what plantation your ancestors came from. You understand? Learn this. I know where plantation my family come from. I know what plantation my granddaddy came from. Cause his mama came from that plantation, born 1892. I met this lady when I was little. She passed when I was a little kid back in the 80s, but she was already like pretty much in her hundreds when I was born. I was born in 81. She was already like 100. You understand? She was a little itty bitty old thing, you know what I'm saying? Like barely 5'3", you know, frail, small, you know, thing back when things was in black and white. I never got a chance to do a history report on her because I was too young. Had I been old enough to do a report, I would have did a whole family tree on her alone. You understand? She passed away in 1986, if I'm not mistaken. Like 1986, 1987. She was 106 years old. You understand? My great-grandmother was 106 years old. May she rise in power. But we have to inquire, like I say, the former age, and we have to search for this knowledge. We have to search for this truth. We have to search in order to dig this stuff up from the archives, to dig it out of the ashes that they tried to set afire for us to forget. You understand, Israel? This is our history, and we deserve to know who we are and where we came from as a people. I pray I understand, Israel. Verse 9, for we are but of yesterday and know nothing. You understand? Compared to what our people did back in those days, we are nothing. We know nothing. We don't know shit. We are but of yesterday. This is why it's imperative that we learn this history. And what I'm bringing out is just an inkling of what I'm really teaching. I'm teaching the law, statutes, and commandments. But I'm using our black inventors because this is part of black history that they removed from the history books. So I have to incorporate this with the law, statutes, and commandments. I'm not going to half-ass it and only teach y'all half of the story. I'm going to teach the whole story. You're going to know who your ancestors are, and you're going to know who really built this country up, and you're going to know these law, statutes, and commandments. And I'm going to see to that, damn it. I pray y'all understand where I'm coming from, Israel. Because our days upon the earth are a shadow. You know, understand something. 1,000 years is only a day to the Most High God. It took the Lord 7,000 years to build the earth. But in the eyes of God, it only took him 7 days. And he rested on the Sabbath. It took a long time to build this planet in his vision. It took a long time for him to create us in his vision. This is why no matter how many white scientists or white people try to grow up and learn and study the arts and study science and biology and alchemy, you can never figure us out. You will never figure us out. You will never know what makes us tick, what breathes life into us. The Most High God breathes life into blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They done dissected us, took us apart, removed our brains, everything, and they still can't figure out what makes us tick, what breathes life into us. But my thing is, why are you studying us? Study your goddamn selves. Y'all put yourselves up on this. Y'all put yourselves up on such this high-ass horse. You got your ass on your shoulders. Y'all on such high pedestals saying y'all better than black people, but yet y'all keep studying us, dissecting us. Why is that? Because y'all like melanin? You don't know what this melanin thing about? It's not for you to know. We belong to the Most High God. You understand? That's what we are. We belong to the Most High God. That's why we're special. Oh, we got beautiful melanated skin. There's a difference from us having melanin and people just being of color. Because you got East Indians that are of color. You have Hamites, which are Africans that are of color. You understand? It's a difference. They are just of color. We possess melanin. This is why we are special. You get what I'm saying? The Most High God made us in His eyes, in His image. We resemble our Father. We look like that nigga. Because he that nigga. And I pray y'all understand, Israel. Verse 10. Shall not thy teach thee? Like, shall we not teach this? Shall we not teach these laws, statutes, and commandments? Shall we not teach this black history to our people? So we know who we are, so we can get a grasp of where we're heading? And tell thee, shall we not tell each other this? Shall we not share this knowledge and wisdom for learning purposes? Shall we not make sure that our family and our close ones get it? And if they don't cast your jewels to swine. It's just that simple, Israel. And utter words out of their hearts, meaning our mind, yes. We're supposed to teach thee. We're supposed to tell thee. We're supposed to utter this from our brain. Where's it? What good is it if it just stays up here and we don't give it out into the world? We digested this. Now we got to regurgitate it into the world. You understand? You are what you eat. If you eat these laws, statutes, and commandments, like, and you regurgitate it to the world, guess what happens? You become a fisher of men, or you become a righteous ass sister. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we know what it is when it comes to so-called deaconess and female pastors. Again, it's a structure and order of things. You know what I mean? Our sisters can aid brothers and fishing expeditions. You get what I'm saying? You bring us the information and we'll reel them in. You help I plant the seed out there, and then you send them to us, and we will reel their ass right on in with no problem. You understand? Because it's going to be one or two things that's going to happen. They either going to listen and they're going to get in these classes and start getting this work, or they're going to stay in the world and continue to please their flesh and do what they want to do because they're a grown ass man. Let that be upon them. That's on them. I'm gonna let them deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And let that be what it is. All right, Israel. For time's sake, it's time to get to these next 6 videos, and then I'm gonna wrap this show up.
You to believe Black history in America began with chains, but that's not true. Centuries before Columbus, Mansa Abubakari II sent a fleet into the West. It's said they reached Mesoamerica. The Olmec heads depict their legacy. African features etched in ancient stone. Gold from Africa, found in Mexico. And in North America, Black tribes walked these lands long before a single European flag was planted. Estevanico the Moor explored the Southwest before Jamestown ever existed. But when slavery was codified, everything changed. Their rights vanished. Their land was stolen. Many were enslaved. Others erased from history entirely. But the truth still lives. Black people were here before they brought the rest of us on ships, before colonization, before America. And their story, it will be told. They told you Saddam Hussein was killed because of weapons of mass destruction. But what if I told you those weapons never existed, and the real reason was far more dangerous? Saddam made a bold move. He planned to sell Iraq's oil using euros instead of US dollars. That meant challenging the petrodollar system, a global financial power structure built on American currency. To world elites, that wasn't just a threat. It was economic rebellion. Within months, Iraq was invaded. The media pushed fear. The world watched him fall. But was it really justice? Or was it a warning to any leader who dared to break the system? This was about money, power, and control, not freedom. Now you know the truth.
Real quick, Israel, before I jump back into the videos, the reason why I played that, let me tell you something. The same reason why they unalived Saddam Hussein is the same reason during the Obama administration they went into Iraq and they unalived Leonard Gaddafi. Leonard Gaddafi didn't unalive nobody. Leonard Gaddafi didn't have no buildings blown up. Leonard Gaddafi was about to be the first African to open up an international bank in Africa. Do you know what that would have did to our economy? We would have been crippled and crushed by that power move, because by Africa opening up a central international bank, they become a third world power, meaning the value of the US dollar goes to shit. That means the whatever currency that they're running on, whether if it was the euro, the English pound, or whatever currency they have over there in Africa, that would have been the legit currency. Why? Because where all the jewels and gems and ore come from, Africa. All the diamonds come from where? Africa. All the blood diamonds and everything, all that come from where? Africa. They would have had actual something tangible to substantiate and back up the value of the currency. You know, if I had $1 on me, I'd rip it in front of you just to show you how the American dollar is worthless. It don't mean nothing, because once you rip it, what is it worth? Nothing. When you put it back together, what is it worth? Nothing. You know, what people fail to realize is we kill each other over these goddamn dollars. We break our backs and lose time with family and children and wives and such over this goddamn dollar. And this dollar ain't worth shit. You know what the U.S. currency really is? A promissory note. Basically, we killing each other for a stack of IOUs, because that's what these hundreds is. This is what these 20s and 50s and hundreds is. IOUs. These are all promissory notes. I'm gonna pay you this. I'm gonna give you this promissory note with the promise that I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna really pay you one day, but just not today. You understand? This is, and again, which brings me back to what I've been saying all class about this goddamn spirit over America, right? Is a wicked spirit over America, and this is something that we have to fight through and we have to overcome and not partake in. You understand, Israel? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 19. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God for living to the dead? Let me explain what this means. When it say look for familiar spirits, if you keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, look for similar spirits that share the same zeal as you. Look for similar spirits that seek the same, that's on the same path as you. Don't seek the spirits that are doing the opposite or anything contrary to what you're seeking as far as these law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. You understand? Don't fall for these wizards and these charlatans that's selling you dreams. You understand? Don't fall for the Christian church. Don't fall for the Muslim mosque. Don't fall for Egyptology. Don't fall for Buddhism or Taoism. Mahatma Gandhi was a deceiver, a liar, another devil. You understand? Don't fall for the tomfoolery. In a nutshell, verse 20: to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. Exactly. If they're not speaking the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, it's tomfoolery. If they're not speaking what we teaching and learning up in here, is not real and it's not right. And it's what I really want to say is it's pluckery. You understand? It's pluckery. That's, you know what I'm saying. You understand what I'm trying to say. It's pluckery, but it is what it is. You understand, Israel? Now I'm gonna get back to these videos for time's sake.
They told you Saddam Hussein was killed because breaking discovery emerged from the mind of a 23-year-old black woman named Alice Ball. A chemist from Seattle, Ball developed the first effective treatment for leprosy using chalmugra oil, a feat no one had achieved before. As the first black woman to earn a master's degree in chemistry at the University of Hawaii, her promising career was cut short by her untimely death at 24. Tragically, her work was overshadowed when a white male colleague claimed credit for her discovery. For decades, her contributions were erased from history. It wasn't until the 1970s that the truth surfaced, and now, February 29th, is celebrated as Alice Ball Day, ensuring her legacy endures. And sugar for his land. He called them fools and refused to be owned. In the late 1800s, U.S. treaty agents came to Sitting Bull with an offer: sign over Lakota land, move to a reservation, and in return, they'd receive government rations: bacon, sugar, coffee, hardtack. Many leaders, exhausted by war and starvation, agreed. But not him. Sitting Bull stood his ground and fired back with a line that would outlive them all. "You are fools to make yourselves slaves to a piece of fat bacon, some hardtack, and a little sugar and coffee." To him, those treaties weren't peace. They were chains, and he refused to let his people be bound by them. While other bands gave up their rifles and moved to government-controlled lands, Sitting Bull stayed free. He hunted, he moved camp, he led, and when they tried again to force his hand, he didn't negotiate. He walked. Even when he was later exiled and surrounded by U.S. agents, he never signed, he never surrendered, and he never took the bait, because Sitting Bull understood what they were really offering. It wasn't food, it was control, and he chose dignity over survival on their terms. His family hunted his people like animals and called it progress, so he became America's worst nightmare. They say revenge is a fool's game. But when Geronimo returned to his camp in 1851, he didn't see a game. He saw a massacre. His mother, his wife, and his 3 children slaughtered by the Mexican army. He buried them with his own hands. Then, he vowed to make the enemy feel the same terror his people had felt. For over 30 years, Geronimo became the ghost of the West. The warrior the U.S. Army could never kill. He could disappear into the desert and reappear miles away. He raided settlements, wiped out entire patrols, and left soldiers too terrified to sleep. They swore he had supernatural powers because nothing else could explain how he always escaped. The U.S. Army sent thousands of men to track him down. They called him a savage, a criminal, a terrorist, but he wasn't fighting for power. He wasn't fighting for gold. He was fighting because his people were being erased. Until 1886, when the army finally broke him. Starving, outnumbered, betrayed, he had no choice but to surrender. They paraded him like a trophy, forced him into captivity, made him shake hands with President Roosevelt like a circus act. But they never let him go home. He died a prisoner, far from his people, and America called it justice. They say General Custer died with honor, that he fought bravely to the very end, but what they never tell you is who took his scalp. It wasn't a soldier. It wasn't even a man. It was a Northern Cheyenne woman named Buffalo Calf Road Woman. A year before Little Bighorn, she rode straight into a battlefield to rescue her wounded brother. That moment became legend among her people. They called it the battle where the girl saved her brother. But the United States Army didn't see it as bravery. They called it an uprising. So they returned with more troops, and they brought Custer with them. At the Battle of the Little Bighorn, Buffalo Calf Road Woman wasn't on the sidelines. She was in the fight, on horseback, moving through the chaos as soldiers broke ranks and warriors closed in. And when Custer fell, she was there. According to Cheyenne oral history, she struck the final blow. She took his scalp. Not for glory, not for bloodlust, but for justice. Justice for her family. Justice for the children stolen by soldiers. For the broken treaties. For the pain her people carried. They tried to erase her name. They wanted the story to end with Custer as the hero. But her story still lives. Buffalo Calf Road Woman, the warrior who ended Custer. Kill the Indian, save the man. That was their goal, and they damn near succeeded. When a society deems its culture superior, it often paves the way for unimaginable cruelty under the guise of progress. Most people don't know the truth about the U.S. government's Indian boarding school policy. It wasn't just education, it was the slow, deliberate destruction of a people's way of life. From the late 1800s well into the 1970s, the U.S. government ran these so-called boarding schools, designed to erase Native identity. Children, some as young as 5, were ripped from their families and communities. The moment they arrived, traditional clothing, gone, languages, banned, ceremonies, beliefs, everything that made them who they were, outlawed. And the abuse was relentless. Beatings for speaking their language, forced labor, physical, emotional, even sexual abuse. Many never saw their families again, lost to disease, malnutrition, or simply buried in unmarked graves behind those so-called schools. But this wasn't random cruelty. It was policy. Strip away the culture, destroy the tribes, and the land is easier to take. And the damage? It didn't end there. Generations of trauma followed, ripping through families, leading to addiction, mental health struggles, and a loss of cultural knowledge that can never be replaced. Witnesses testified. Investigations confirmed every brutal detail. And still, for decades, America stayed silent. They thought it would erase indigenous identities. Instead, it became one of the darkest stains on this country's history. And Native communities? They're still here, still fighting, still surviving. They weren't allowed to vote. They weren't even recognized as citizens in their native land. But when the U.S. entered World War I, Native men were suddenly eligible to fight. In 1917, Congress passed the Selective Service Act. It required all men between 18 and 45 to register for the draft, citizen or not. That included Native Americans. Most Native people at the time were not U.S. citizens. But draft boards across the country registered them anyway. And thousands were sent off to war. Even more chose to go on their own. Over 12,000 Native men served in the U.S. military during World War I. Many of them volunteers. They were willing to fight for a country that didn't even recognize them. In 1919, Congress passed legislation offering citizenship to Native veterans who served honorably. But it wasn't automatic. They had to apply, and not everyone qualified. It wasn't until 1924, with the Indian Citizenship Act, that all Native Americans were granted full U.S. citizenship. By that time, many had already bled for a flag that didn't represent them. They fought for freedom, while still being denied their own. But when a U.S. soldier laid hands on his wife, Solly didn't run. He struck, and that single act changed the fate of a nation. Some survived by walking the path they were forced to take. Others gave everything to make sure their people never had to. In 1838, during the Trail of Tears, the U.S. government began rounding up the Cherokee Nation at gunpoint. Homes were raided, families torn apart. Thousands were forced into stockades and then marched west through disease, starvation, and freezing cold. Over 4,000 Cherokee died on the journey. Solly and his family were among those captured in the mountains of North Carolina. When one of the soldiers assaulted his wife, Solly fought back. 2 soldiers were unalived. With his wife and children, he fled into the Blue Ridge Mountains, joining hundreds of Cherokees still in hiding. He wasn't running. He was resisting, protecting the last who refused to be removed. General Winfield Scott couldn't find him, so he offered a deal. If Solly surrendered, the Cherokees still in hiding would be allowed to stay. Solly accepted. He gave himself up, along with his sons and his brother. All of them were executed. No trial, no mercy. But Scott kept his word. The Cherokee who remained were left alone, and because of that, their descendants are still there today. They are the Eastern Band of Cherokee. Solly, his sons, and his brother gave the ultimate sacrifice, so their people could remain on their own land. They didn't survive the Trail of Tears, but part of their nation did. The U.S. government wanted them erased, but their people remembered them for what they were, saviors. Trail of Tears. But it wasn't one trail, and it wasn't just one tribe. It was a nationwide eviction, and the land they died on had already been sold. In 1830, the U.S. passed the Indian Removal Act. On paper, it promised peaceful relocation. But behind closed doors, the government was already surveying native land, dividing it, mapping it, and offering it to settlers. They sold it cheap, they sold it fast, and they sold it before the tribes were even removed. The Choctaw were the first, forced out in 1831. Then came the Seminole, the Creek, the Chickasaw, and in 1838, the Cherokee. It wasn't one trail, it was dozens. Each tribe had a different route, but the destination was the same, Indian Territory. Over 100,000 native people were forced from their homes. More than 15,000 died along the way, from disease, exposure, or starvation. And when the marches were over, the land they left behind was already occupied. This wasn't relocation. It was the Indian Removal Act, and it did exactly what it was meant to do. They took the land, they took the lives, and they never gave either back.
And that, Israel, is what they did.
They couldn't
to our
break
people. That, in a nutshell, is what they did to our Native Indian brothers and sisters over time. Eradicated them. Even though some of them bastards kept their promise and left some of the natives on their land. Yeah, the land is left to them, but they didn't survive that Trail of Tears. It was called the Trail of Tears for a reason. This just shows that wicked spirit that Esau has over this land in today's time. You understand? If we go to the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." In the very beginning, it was these laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? When Adam was awakened, he was given the laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? And he gave him dominion over the earth. From the beginning, it's been the Word, and it was God. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And without this Word, we are nothing. Without the Most High God, we are nothing. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, learn who you are. Learn who your ancestors were. Learn your history. You understand? Learn these laws, statutes, and commandments so you can know where you're trying to go in life. Because as long as you have the Most High God with you, there's no weapon of any shape or form that could harm you. There's nothing that Esau could do to you if the Lord is with you. Yes, he could remove you from the flesh. But remember, the Most High God can remove the flesh and the spirit and make sure you never come back in this earth. The reincarnation is real. Think about it. I'm going to give you an example of reincarnation before I wrap this class up, right? You ever be somewhere or doing something and just randomly out of nowhere, out the blue, you just get a moment of deja vu, like, yo, this is crazy. Why I feel like I've done this before. Why I feel like I've been here before. I can't put my finger on it. I've seen this place before. I even though I know this is my first time here, I feel like I've been here before. I remember seeing this, but I can't put my finger on what or when or where. You get what I'm saying? You ever had that feeling? That is deja vu. That is your former body. That is your spirit trying to access a memory from your former life. The Lord God makes sure you don't remember your past life. But anytime you had a moment of deja vu or felt like you've been here before, especially with people that you came up with, understand, y'all share that kindred spirit. Y'all share that similar spirit. You understand? That's why y'all had those moments. That's why you have moments of deja vu, Israel. That's why you sit there, you be wondering to yourself like, damn, why does this look familiar? Why I feel like I've been here before? You know what I'm saying? Why I feel like I know you from somewhere. I just can't put my finger on it. It's not the flesh that you remember, it's that spirit in them. You understand, Israel? This is why it's good to know who you are, where you come from, so you can later know where you're going. Keeping these law, statutes, and commandments is the best way to start. I pray y'all understand. That's my time, Israel. Y'all stay tuned for tomorrow's Brotherhood class, all right? And with that, shalom.